Kyle's really good.
How about my man B Mac though?
Yeah.
Just I get it. It's like, oh man, you're gonna say that about because it's the team you work with, but you know me, like I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
You won't say nice things unless you mean them. You just won't say anything.
I won't say anything.
Yeah. You just won't say anything.
But I do think that's what makes us unique is the chemistry and the camaraderie, right? It's not the individual talent. I'm not taking anything away from that or saying anything about that. It's everybody has each other's back, and it's Josh looks out for us, and I try to look out for Ben, and Ben for me, and me for Jess, and just what's best. And I'm telling you, I got away from the call and the voice, and I'm like, yep, that guy is going to be a great team player. That's all I cared about because it's so chaotic.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. Like when he sees his reads and the lives, and
there's a lot going on.
It's a lot.
There's a lot going on. I haven't done a Nebraska football game, obviously, but I've done a couple Creighton broadcasts.
It's overwhelming.
There's a lot going on, and I know there's that much more for Nebraska.
And Ben has these gifts where he can signal and talk in shorthand. Even for me, like he'll have these things like cranked out and stats ready because he knows how I think. He'll talk to me in such it may look like chicken scratch or hieroglyphics,
but you understand it.
But I understand
it.
Yeah, because he knows how I think, and vice versa. So it's like I always talk about. If I'm saying something, like Jess knows, okay, if I'm going to validate or substantiate what he's saying, let me go get some real life examples. I'm going to go get in this huddle. I'm going to go listen to this coach.
Yeah.
Or if she has the idea first, hey, last year could be, hey, Coach Knighton's got the D line over. He's talking about get off and using hands, right? Like good eye placement. Then I can weave that in to an analysis on what's happened with a play. Like it's just like that's how it works. Nobody's kind of operating on an island. We're all kind of in unison.
It's kind of funny because there's a couple areas in life as you're kind of describing that dynamic there that like pop into my mind. The first one was, hey, if Nebraska football can replicate what the Nebraska broadcast booth has, we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's worried. Everybody's concerned about getting each other's back and making sure that everybody operates in the optimal way as a team. But I was also thinking about just I think the dynamics of being more concerned about the outcome as a whole, as opposed to just being concerned about your place in the outcome and your piece of the outcome, because it's really easy to go and be, if you're like a sideline reporter like Jess, for instance, it's really easy to go, hey, I'm just going to get the most interesting thing I can get.
And what did I tell you I was blown away by? Her
ability to like listen to you guys and go and get
actually
something
listen, because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
But I thought like the only reason I did it it wasn't natural to me. It was when I started at BTN and I would do these broadcasts, like the guys that were the people that they would bring in, if it wasn't Kugler, there was a 99% chance I knew more about the team than they did.
Sure.
So they left my mic open.
Yeah.
And they would just throw it down to me live. Like I was their version of Saragusa. So I got used to listening to the broadcast because I knew I didn't want to, I either wanted to accentuate or give a add-on. I didn't want, because Kugler, he'd always, oh man, give him a reason to break away. Just give him a reason to break away. Like otherwise don't interrupt the broadcast.
Yeah.
Cool. Enough said. So when Jess was doing it naturally, what I come back and say, I'm like, I've got to figure out a way to utilize her because she's probably like, well, duh, why wouldn't I listen to the broadcast? I'm just telling you.
Not everybody does.
Not everybody does.
Yeah.
Not.
Some people are just looking for their moment to try and make their part of the broadcast, especially because a lot of people, I don't know what, like in your situation when you were with BTN, like a lot of people, that's not their career aspiration is to be on the sideline. It's to be,
it wasn't.
Right? It's to be the color guy.
I prefer the bird.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so you're trying, a lot of people are like, well, let me just make it undeniable that I should be in the booth instead of down here.
And you know what happened?
Yeah.
From the sideline analysts, it's like, all right, let's not try to find the biggest name to be in the booth. Let's
get the right guy.
This guy's pretty all right.
Let's get the guy that's good, right?
Yeah, so that was kind of the first thing that drew me to the collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm thinking about, weirdly, I think about private equity way too much. It's just a thing that lives in my head a lot.
You were the big private equity guy to bail out schools for NIL. No, anyway, keep going.
I was the big, like, don't do that. You're going to lose your athletic department. But it's also what you're talking about is the exact.
That too.
Yeah. Thank you for correctly characterizing my argument there. It's like the Rust thing all over again. But it's like.
Do I need to go back to the Jurassic Park example? You made it personal.
Oh, listen. You know I get out of line. That's part of who I am. A lot of it, though, is you're talking about whether it's being worried about the whole versus the individual parts, right? A lot of people take a private equity mindset where it's like, hey, if I can get value out of individual parts, then I don't care about the whole anymore. Mm-hmm. And at the cost of the whole a lot of times. Like, oh, I can get value at this part of the company and I can get value at this part of the company. I'm going to strip it off for parts. I'm going to make a profit, but I have killed the thing that I bought.
Even when we were brainstorming, mm-hmm. we were playing to each other's strengths. I was like, oh, he'll probably do that because he's comfortable mm-hmm. around Jess, or she's disarming, or he can do this, and then we can do this with these were not my ideas, by the way. These were ideas that were being floated around mm-hmm. real time, which is why I was texting Coach Rhule, mm-hmm. right? I'm just like, oh, it doesn't do us really any good to be hypothesizing about this if it's not something he's actually gonna be willing. And the first thing he said, well, yeah, I mean, if that's what Jess wants to do, that's fine. I was like, really? Like,
is that what we're doing?
That's what we're on.
That's what today. We're doing.
But it was just it was a microcosm. And then to hear Coach Rhule just expand with the radio network about the partnership and how to next level it mm-hmm. from a financial standpoint.
Yeah.
Did it turn into like a mini brain session, a mini brainstorming session? It was incredible. And that's why Kaya was like, you can just tell how Coach Rhule thinks. He's constantly thinking about what's next.
Yeah.
Right. How does this fit into the process? How can we fit with what we see as cutting edge that other schools are trying to do? So we're not on the outside looking in.
So you know what's funny about, so Kyle was talking about that. He's like, you know, you've got guys that are getting out of it and becoming coordinators and stuff. And you've seen that he said to the NFL, you've seen it, guys just take college. I mean, Dan Holgerson, there's one on our staff right now, right? Where he's like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I really like calling plays, right? And let me just get back to what I'm good at. And I guess I'll just make low seven figures instead of high seven figures. And I'll probably be able to get by on that, you know? But it's kind of funny though. I genuinely think, and I don't know if Coach Rhule would put it in these terms, and maybe we can get him on this summer and ask him about it, but there's a part of me that thinks he enjoys this even more now. Because I think he looks at the landscape and he goes, oh, there's a lot of stuff.
He wants it to be about survival of the fittest, so advantage him?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a lot of stuff that everybody else doesn't understand yet. That means I've got opportunities.
Yep. I mean, and we could ask him, but I'm going to guess you're right.
Like, the more chaos there is, the more uncertainty there is. He's like, okay, I know I can thrive here. I'll take my chances on me.
He said it at Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah.
Those that work the hardest and the smartest
they'll survive the chaos.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I think he actually looks at the landscape of college football and he's like, yeah, muddy that thing up. Let's go. He's like, you know what? Because I trust me. And I know not everybody else operates like I do.
It's weird that I would gravitate towards somebody like that, right? Because why did I tell you Caleb ultimately liked Nebraska outside of the relationships, even post-Coop leaving? If it's about survival of the fittest,
I'll bet on me.
That plays to my strengths. While everybody else is falling by the wayside.
If it's about enduring, I'll take my chances.
Yeah, no handouts. You gotta go get it. Right? Like that's how you want it.
Yeah, no, that's something that I can definitely appreciate. And I do think it's a little funny because, you know, you do have you have people within the fan base kind of worrying about like, well, how much longer is Coach Rhule going to want to do this? And like, there's a lot of chaos. I was like, I think he loves this. I think he sits back and goes, all right, now I can eat.
Yeah, and he's so stinking competitive too. Like, I think he's just dead set to return Nebraska to national relevance.
Yeah.
Right. Without, this is independent of bringing steer into the weight room or boom boxes or anything else. It's just he understands what he's dealing with, and I think he wants just tell him what the rules are, and he'll play any game you want to.
And if you don't tell me what the rules are, I'll do it my way until you do.
Until you tell us not to.
You know, that's the I think that's fascinating. That kind of little bit there about Coach Rhule versus what some of the other coaches have done here, and then that thing about Ben McLaughlin that Kyle talked about. Like, those are the two things I think are going to stick with me.
The real-time self-awareness?
Yeah, like his real-time empathy for Ben in that moment, understanding, hey, this is coming off a certain way, but if I kind of parse through it a little bit.
And he was so cool with it.
Yeah. Like, if I parse through it a little bit, not only do I understand, because it started like, oh, if I really listen to what he's saying, like, he's got my back, right? But then he even went, what really got me is he went the step further of, well, okay, he's got my back. It's coming off a little aggressive maybe or a little harsh. Why is it coming off that way? And then he got to the point and he goes, oh, I know that Greg and Ben were best friends. I know that this has been harder on him than anybody else. I know he's been in the baseball booth without his best friend for the past few months. Like, he went from, oh, he's got my back. Maybe his presentation just isn't as pretty as I'd like it to be or whatever. He went past that to be like, well, I've heard good things about this guy. I've heard about who he is as a person and that he's a good guy and all this kind of stuff. So why is the...
Yeah, just to kind of see Ben's heart. Like, it took me a little bit to think to myself, you know, B-Mac may say something to me like, why did you buy AirPods that you don't know how to set up? Or I don't know why this alarm is acting like this on your phone. Like, you're the only ding dong I know with Android. Like, he'll say these kinds of things.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And he'll whatever the problem is, like, he can fix it and he'll give it back to me. And 5 minutes later, he'll say, "Hey, are you good? Is everything working okay?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, man, yeah, I appreciate that. You know, I could lose something on my computer. Hey, I can't. It's locked. I can't find." And now he's gonna let me have it real time. But it's cool because I know he actually wants what's best for me. Right?
He's just gonna give you a couple jabs on the way.
So, and for him to pick up on that, like his perspective while he's going through that, I thought was, and even I didn't know that real time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I looked at Jess and I kind of sunk. I was like, oh no.
You thought you were gonna scare him off.
I was a little concerned.
And listen, you've told me,
and I'm you know what I mean? But like I was a little concerned.
You've told me some of the stories about how some of the interviews went, and you're like, yeah, Ben's kind of coming in hot and whatever. And I know basically all the things that Kyle has talked about there, and I didn't put those things together.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. And you love Ben.
I see a lot of myself in Ben.
Yeah.